Welcome everyone. Welcome. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. So we'll join together on page 2 of our Siddurim for the opening blessing for Shabbat. For this evening, I'd like to invite up Glory for the candle blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner, shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Continue on page 8 of our Siddurim. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illuminate us all and to bring that vision to life. We continue on page 10 with Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good and how pleasant it is that brothers and sisters dwell together. We continue on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Malachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boechem Kadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We now rise for the Baruch Hu as the ark is being opened. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. You may be seated. We continue with the Shema on page 34. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Continue with the V'ahavta on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi misavecha chayom al levavecha v'shinantan levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uletecha v'derech u'shachbecha uvkumecha ukshartan leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem ekol mitzvotai v'hitem kiddushim lelolechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher chotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We join together on page 37 in English with a translation of the V'ahavta. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them at the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside of your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. I continue on page 39. Page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. We'll join together for the Micha Mocha prayer on page 40. Micha Mocha Marim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehilot O Seifele, Nora Tehilot O Seifele, Malechutecha Ra'u Vanecha, Bokeh El Yam, Lifnei Moshe Miriam, Zeli, Zeli, Anu V'yamru, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed, Yadai, 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 Bye, 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 Yadai, 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 Bye, 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 Yadai, 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 Bye, 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 Yadai, 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 Bye, Bye, Bye. We now continue on page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. Continue on page 44 with Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doretam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doretam berit olam. B'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doretam berit olam. Ki shet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doretam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doretam We now rise for tefillah on page 46. Page 46. Adonai, Sefer Taititach, Ufia Yiratecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hagora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii Geula libnei bneihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav le'Moshiach. Mashiach haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chaim v'chesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato lishenei afar, Mikamocha ba'al gevurot, U'midomela, Melech memit u'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, Ve'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shim hakadosh v'kashim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated. We continue on page 55, together in English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Continue on page 58. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ocha me'eh lehodot. Continue on page 60 with Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav, Am Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. now have a few moments of silent prayer and meditation. As we exit our meditation, we'll join together for Oseh Shalom on page 62. Oseh Shalom Mimromam, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'meru, Ve'meru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. May the one who makes peace in thy heavens make peace for us, for all Israel and all who inhabit the earth, and let us say, Amen. In just a moment, we'll join together for the Misha Barak prayer. The Misha Barak prayer of healing is found on page 253. Again, it is on page 253. I'll be reciting names that have been provided to me from our Misha Barak list. And after these names have been read aloud, I'd like to ask anyone in our community to share with us names of loved ones or individuals who are in need of a healing of mind, body, and or of spirit, so that we may add them to our Misha Barak list this evening. For this evening, we have the following names: Sylvia Bernard, Marion Bahar, Ashley Blair, Joyce Cahill, Harav Shmuel ben Kahat Vekrembo, Chana Shira bat Yisrael Vefega, Marty Foster, Silly Hellman, Barbara Kibben, Dawn Kramer, Odessa Marie Lee, Maria Lopez, Lexi McCrae, Fran Morton, Pam Ortez, Harold Osborne, Jonathan Paris, Miguel Poniman, Vivian Poniman, Avery Ray, Colton Robinson, Maxine Schiffman, Dora Spires, Linwood Spires, Steve Watson, Amy Webb, Ashley Wakena. Are there any additional name requests from anyone in our congregation this evening? Barbara Owens.
Ryan Wilkes.
Ryan Wilkes. Dr. Jefferson Jones.
Christine Sanford.
Christine Stanford. Any other names? No. The words to the Misha Beirach prayer can be found on page 253. Page 253. In just a moment, we'll be offering a Misha Beirach prayer for all those who serve our country in uniform. Misha Beirach lechomenu Yeshua v'David, Devora Yael v'Yehudit, Hu Yivarech et Chayalenu. May the one who blessed our warriors of old, Joshua and David, Devora, Yael, and Judith, bless and watch over our dear ones who are in the service of our country and our dear ones who serve in the defense of the state of Israel. Although it is we who send them into harm's way, we pray that you lead them safely on their missions and bring them home to their loved ones in wholeness and in health. Be a source of comfort to their families and bless them too with patience, courage, and strength, to which together we say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This week's Torah portion, it is a very special one. Exactly 1 year ago, I sat huddled at my home in Cincinnati, Ohio, in front of a computer screen as it snowed abundantly outside. Staring at the screen, I prepared a sermon for this week's Torah portion, that is Parshat Teruma. However, this was no ordinary sermon for preparation. It was very special. There was something very special marking the occasion for the sermon preparation. You see, I was preparing the sermon exactly a year ago for delivery for your search committee as part of my interview at Temple Israel. The Torah portion, it was significant for many reasons a year ago in my life. As I remarked then, in Parshat Teruma, we read how the people of Israel, they were called upon to build the tabernacle and the ark that will house the Ten Commandments. The construction for the tabernacle as well as the ark, it includes specifications calling for specific materials, gems, exotic woods, and curtains, precious metals, including gold and silver and copper. Tasked to our forebearers the dimensions and measurements for the construction of the ark and the tabernacle, they are very specific. And this was the first finite architectural descriptions of our people and the first descriptions of artistry of wood carving, gilding, and work with precious materials. In Exodus 25, verse 17 of this week's Torah portion, the text calls for the ark cover with Ve'asita koperet zahav tahor, and translated this means, and you shall make an ark cover of pure gold. This week, our Torah portion, it is the bedrock for Jewish expressions in art, in woodworking, architecture, and design. The expression, and this expression of Judaism, it fit perfectly into my rabbinate about a year ago. As many of you may be aware, it was this expression of Judaism that compelled me most to rebuild one of the perished Torah arks from one of the wooden synagogues of Europe and initiate upon the opening the Ark project of Cincinnati. The Ark, now restored and standing inside of the Skirvon Museum of Cincinnati, was one of the jewels of world Jewry. Towering and coated in vibrant colors, it stood in Sidra, Poland, but it was destroyed by the Nazis in 1942. With Polish, Sephardic, Ashkenazi, and even Russian influences, it testified to a Jewish dialogue and to a Jewish mastery of craft, of art, artistry, and carpentry. Included on the ark itself are the motifs of this week's Torah portion. Exactly, and it includes on the actual ark a replica of the Ten Commandments, gildings of precious metals, and an assumed figure of Moses. Embroidered in the Hebrew above the opening, which houses the Torah scrolls, is the first verse from the second aliyah of this week's Torah portion, and translated, it reads, "And you shall make an ark cover of pure gold." Ve'asita koperet zahav tahor in Hebrew. About a year ago, it occurred to me that the story of the Torah ark's rebirth was one, though, about community. It is a story of community that is most touching to ourselves. The project was not financed, built, or envisioned by one single person. In fact, there were many people who worked on the project. There was a board, a team of volunteers, and close to a dozen organizations that all pitched in to the project in its development. Nevertheless, the details of the opening the Ark project, they mirror the text in our Torah portion and our reading of this week in many ways. But let's fast forward to today. How may this experience inform ourselves here at Temple Israel? Building, rebuilding, or embarking upon a vision is no different from then until today. As a community grew in Cincinnati, so too has one emerged here in Columbus after the several waves of COVID-19. Today we have new faces joining us in our building today. Earlier this week we met some of them. Barbara Ballatin, her sister Sue joined us for JLS activities, and my mother Jacqueline is here with us as well this evening. We also have Sarah and Lori. All of us are finding ways and voices here at Temple Israel and are pitching in to build this community. And it is not unlike the miracle of rebuilding an ark in Cincinnati. Here too, we are experiencing a rebirth, a revival, after a series of destructions. COVID has again and again stolen what we may hold sacred. The building we stand in, or the food we may eat. However, it has not stolen our sense of community, for the vitality of a community, for its success over ever adversity, over challenges, we all need to give back and do our part to pitch in. This means spending the time here with one another and being together here is very important to all of us. Both in rebuilding a relic lost in the Holocaust or rebuilding a community here at Temple Israel in the waves after the waves of COVID-19, we are building personal relationships with one another. Everyone involved must feel an emotional tie, a bond, chiefly to one another, not to the buildings, not to the things we recreate. Today, many of us sit apart from one another, and some of us are even at home this evening. Families have been separated over these past few months, and many may not be able to still see each other. However, what is it that has brought us here together today? Is it limited to a physical space, to a sanctuary? Clearly not for everyone. As important as physical spaces may be, our connections, they extend beyond the physical realm. The building of our community, it has drawn us to be here and with one another this evening. It is the call of love, of unity, of community, God and spirituality, of Judaism that bring us together. These qualities are needed today more than ever before. Building an ark, building a tabernacle, or rebuilding a community, they are holy not only because of the physical spaces they create, but because of the connections of empathy, care, and devotion we build with one another as people. Exodus 25, verse 17 states, "You shall make an ark cover of pure gold, ve'asita koperet zahav tahor." But as we have discovered through our history, material wealth, arks, tabernacles, and Jewish spaces, they may all rise up, but they are merely physical and not eternal. What may be eternal, what will endure, however, is our faith, which raises not just buildings, but a community of love, compassion, and concern. These values, they have transcended and they will continue to transcend the generations of our people. They will be our ark into the future and for future generations. Lador, Lador, Ken Yehi Ratzon. So in just a moment, we'll join for the Aleinu prayer, page 282. Page 282, please rise.
Lateit Gedulah
You may be seated. We'll join together for the translation provided for the Elenu prayer on page 285. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. I'd like to invite up Terry Potts for our brief but uplifting announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Debbie. And thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. As most of you probably got the bulletin, we have a few things that are happening this weekend. One will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
It's going to be at 12:30. It was originally at 2, but then there's enough people who wanted to make it at 12:30. So
It's at 12:30 for the conversion class.
Not the conversion class, 1 o'clock. Yes, you're correct, yes.
Okay,
I thought you were talking about bicycling, and that wasn't bicycling. No. And I had bicycling day
Maybe
off.
he needs to do that.
Please, so don't let me mess up anything else. Go ahead.
Okay, tomorrow, conversion class.
Yes, you're right, yes.
1 o'clock.
Yes,
Schwob Parlor. Is this working? I don't think it is.
No, but sure so.
I'm sure everybody can hear me anyway.
Yes, we can. Can they hear you? That's the deal.
Oh, thank you. And then followed by Sunday at 9:30 for our Temple Israel Religious School. And then Mark Rice will have his parenting discussion class at 11:15 to 12:15. Anyone who wishes to join that, please email or call Mark Rice. And Sunday after TRS is going to be the biking group.
Then there was biking group, correct, yes. And that's going to be actually at 12:30 because we had enough people who wanted to do it exactly after TRS, so we're just going to do it right after TRS.
Okay. TRS ends, and then you get on your bike. And where are you going to bike to?
Biking from this area, and actually I'm going to pair it to Eric's expertise line because he's a bike expert by comparison to me. He may think that he's not, but he is certainly the bike expert of the group.
So I guess you'll be leading the group.
Yes.
And thank you, Eric and Jackie, for your work in the library. I understand hundreds of books have been shelved recently. Hundreds and hundreds, almost probably getting close to 1,000. So thank you very much. We look forward to the completed project. And thank you, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
So before we turn to the mourner's Kaddish, we will have a short meditation. When I die, give what's left of me to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. This evening we have a much shorter list for Yurtzites. However, if there are any additional name requests from the Yurtzite list, I'd like to ask anyone in our congregation to please share with us their loved ones or individuals so that we can all pray as one community for the loss of your relative. For this evening, we have the following names: Sam Love, Virginia Fisher, Shirley Scalara. Do we have any additional name requests from anyone in our congregation? No? I can check our online guests as well. No, we do not. But we have a record this evening for online attendees. We have 400. Yeah, that blows my mind. Okay, very cool. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Please rise if it is your custom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. V'alma divra hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yahei shmei Rabbah mevorach li'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudashav rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say together, Amen. May their memories always be for a blessing. Amen. You may be seated. So we'll join now together for page 322 for Ein Kelahenu. Ein Kelahenu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Mikeloheinu, Mikadonenu, Mikemalkeinu, Mikamoshienu, Nodem Eloheinu, Nodem Adonenu, Nodem Malkeinu, Nodem Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. I'd like to invite up Stuart Brines for the blessing over the wine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pori hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon himpilanu Zikaron le'maaseh bereishit ki hu yom tefila le'nikra'ei kodesh zecher etziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'afarta v'otanu kidashta mikol Shabbat kodshecha b'ahava u'ratzon hinchatanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Shakach. And for the blessing over the book. Alright, I'll take this. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. The Teavon?
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank
Anybody else? Alright, Shabbat Shalom everyone. We'll meet outside for the Oneh. Good Shabbos.